Nice guys are often told that kindness wins in the end, that if they're patient, loyal, and honest, the world will reward them. But Machiavelli, the ruthless realist, would shake his head at such a belief. In his world, power isn't given to the nicest, it's seized by the smartest, boldest, and most strategic. Niccolò Machiavelli, the author of The Prince, never once suggested that being kind is inherently wrong. But he made one thing clear: kindness, when not controlled, becomes weakness. And in a world run by wolves, weakness gets you eaten. Nice guys often confuse being liked with being respected, but Machiavelli saw respect as the only currency that mattered. He argued that fear is a more reliable tool than love, because fear can be controlled, while love is fickle. So when a nice guy seeks only to be liked, he gives away his leverage before the game even begins. In today's world, the nice guy listens more than he speaks, apologizes for his ambitions, and constantly seeks approval. Machiavelli would call this a political suicide, a self-betrayal disguised as humility, because those who constantly bow rarely rise. Let's be honest, most nice guys get overlooked, ghosted, friend-zoned, or taken advantage of. They don't lack good hearts, they lack strategy. Machiavelli would say, if you must be good with limits, never at the expense of your own power. In The Prince, Machiavelli advised rulers to appear moral while secretly doing what's necessary to win. This is the core advice to nice guys: stop being transparent with your emotions. Show the world what it wants to see, but move in silence with what you really need. He famously wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both," not because he believed in cruelty, but because he understood human nature. Nice guys rely on the love of others. Machiavellians rely on control of the situation. You might think that kindness will attract loyalty, and sometimes it does. But Machiavelli warns that loyalty earned through softness is fragile and temporary. People are loyal when it serves them, so you must align their interests with yours. Nice guys are often allergic to confrontation. They avoid tension, they hate saying no, and they fear being disliked. But power respects boundaries, and boundaries come from saying no unapologetically. Machiavelli would teach the nice guy to practice calculated cruelty, not to hurt people, but to make strategic decisions, even if they make you unpopular. Sometimes the right move isn't the nicest, it's just the smartest. Let's talk about relationships, because that's where nice guys suffer most. They give too much, expect too little, and confuse effort with value. Machiavelli would whisper, "Never give what isn't being asked for, and never chase what doesn't flee." He'd argue that giving unearned attention creates imbalance. Why should anyone value what is freely, endlessly available? The nice guy floods the market with kindness. Machiavelli creates scarcity. Machiavelli's ideal man isn't cold, he's controlled, he's capable of kindness, but never becomes its slave. He knows when to offer comfort and when to withhold it. There's a reason the phrase "nice guys finish last" exists. Because they play by rules while the world rewards those who rewrite them. Machiavelli would say, make your own rules or follow someone else's and suffer. Nice guys often assume people are like them: honest, loyal, well-meaning. But Machiavelli saw people as self-interested creatures who shift with the wind. Trust must be earned, not assumed, and loyalty must be tested, not expected. Who, quote, quote. So while the nice guy shows his soul, the Machiavellian shows only his mask. Machiavelli never said to be evil, only to be effective. If your kindness isn't working, it's not kindness, it's poor strategy. Power isn't given to the most innocent. Peace given to the most competent. The nice guy constantly explains himself, hoping to be understood. But Machiavelli would laugh because explaining is a form of begging. Let your actions do the speaking and your silence build mystery. To be respected, you must be slightly feared, not in a violent way, but in a powerful way. People must know that crossing you has consequences. Nice guys are often safe to disrespect. That's where the fall begins. Machiavelli believed success is about timing, deception, and action. Nice guys wait for signs, ask for permission, and look for validation, but the world belongs to those who dare, not those who doubt. There's nothing wrong with kindness, but it must be paired with strength. Unarmed kindness invites abuse. Strategic kindness earns admiration. If you're kind, be kind like a lion. Majestic but dangerous if provoked. Nice guys must learn to withdraw their energy when it's not valued. Machiavelli would say, do not water the plant that refuses to grow. Energy is currency. Spend it where it multiplies, not where it dies. Silence, distance, and restraint are tools Machiavelli valued. Nice guys often overshare, overgive, overstay. Learn to retreat with dignity. Sometimes the absence hits harder than presence. Machiavelli's world is not about being liked, it's about being remembered. You don't need to be everyone's friend, just someone they respect enough not to cross. Respect creates influence, and influence creates opportunity. Let go of the need to prove your goodness. Nice guys are always trying to explain why they deserve love, success, respect. Machiavelli would advise, be undeniable, not by virtue but by value. In the game of life, sincerity without boundaries is a trap. Nice guys pour love into empty vessels and wonder why they feel drained. Machiavelli would warn, guard your generosity like a weapon, use it with purpose. The truth is, the world rewards perception. If you appear confident, capable, scarce, people will chase you. The nice guy must stop being an open book and start being a rare edition. So here's the first rule Machiavelli would give to nice guys. Don't be kind to be liked, be kind to be powerful. When kindness is intentional, selective, and paired with discipline, it commands authority. The transformation from a nice guy to a Machiavellian strategist doesn't mean losing your heart. It means learning how to protect it behind a fortress of wisdom. You still feel, you just stop bleeding for people who wouldn't flinch if you vanished. Machiavelli believed every man must choose between being useful and being powerful. The nice guy tries to be useful, hoping his value will earn loyalty, but usefulness is exploited. Power is respected. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet confidence, subtle detachment, or a sharp no. Nice guys say yes too quickly, and in doing so, they say no to their own worth. In relationships, in business, in life, people test boundaries. Machiavelli would say what you tolerate, you teach. Nice guys tolerate disrespect. In hopes it will stop, Machiavellians correct it the first time. Being overly nice is often a fear-based behavior. Fear of rejection, conflict, or being alone, but Machiavelli would challenge you. What's worse, being alone or being powerless in a crowd? The man who fears being alone becomes a slave to company. He overextends himself, gives too much, and accepts too little. Machiavelli would cut through this with a dagger of logic. Be complete alone and you'll never beg for company. Nice guys constantly ask for permission, to lead, to love, to speak. But Machiavelli knew power is taken, not requested. No one will hand you the crown just because you are polite. He would advise you to observe more than you speak. Learn how people move, what they desire, where they are weak. Information is leverage, and the quiet ones gather the most. The nice guy over-explains, over-promises, over-apologizes. Machiavelli would remove all that noise with a single principle: speak only to influence. Every word is a weapon. Stop throwing them for free. Learn this. Silence creates space, and space creates power. Nice guys rush to fill silence with reassurance or self-sacrifice. But sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all. Machiavelli would admire discipline more than decency, not because he was cruel, but because he valued control. Nice guys lose control in the name of kindness and end up lost themselves. Discipline isn't cold, it's calculated. It's being able to feel love, but not lose yourself in it. Machiavelli would say, give your heart but not your throne. Nice guys often tie their identity to others' happiness. They become emotional servants, fixing, pleasing, saving, but Machiavelli believed a man must first master his own kingdom before aiding another's. Let's talk strategy. If people only respect what they fear losing, then become valuable enough to be feared in absence. Withdraw your energy and watch who notices. That's your real audience. Nice guys give loyalty as a gift, but Machiavelli knew loyalty must be earned, tested, and monitored. Give it too fast and you empower those who don't deserve it. He'd also warn, forgive once, learn forever. Nice guys forgive endlessly, thinking it proves love. But all it proves is that consequences don't exist. Without consequences, your kindness becomes currency no one values. Machiavelli would suggest, be kind but let them wonder what happens if they betray you. Let your potential reaction carry weight, not your words alone. Nice guys apologize too often. They say sorry for existing, for speaking up, for having needs. But Machiavelli would say never apologize for power. Own it, refine it, command it. Respect isn't requested, it's felt. You feel it when a man enters a room with calm confidence and no desperation. Machiavelli's ideal man doesn't chase, he attracts. The world rarely honors the most selfless. It remembers the most strategic. So don't live to be remembered for being nice. Live to be remembered for being effective. Nice guys play to not lose. Machiavellians play to win, and there's a massive difference in outcome. Machiavelli knew the game of life isn't fair. So he didn't waste energy wishing it was. He adapted ruthlessly, efficiently, and without apology. The nice guy waits for the world to notice his good deeds. But Machiavelli would scoff goodness without power is invisible. If you want to be seen, build presence. Don't just hope for applause. Nice guys often fear power itself. They think it corrupts. But Machiavelli would say power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. The question is, what would it reveal in you? He'd encourage you to practice detachment from outcomes, from opinions, from validation, because a man who doesn't need anything is impossible to manipulate. Detachment is misunderstood. It's not about being cold, it's about being in control. Feel everything, but don't obey everything you feel. Nice guys crumble under emotional chaos. Machiavellians thrive in it because they aren't governed by it. Master your emotions, and you master every interaction. He'd also urge you to see people as they are, not as you wish they were. The nice guy projects goodness onto everyone, but Machiavelli would say, never love someone's potential, love their pattern. Observe what they do, not what they say. The nice guy believes promises. Machiavelli studies behaviors, because actions don't lie. The nice guy gives endlessly. But Machiavelli would tell him, you can't pour from an empty cup, or worse, into a broken one. Give wisely. Give selectively. Give with purpose. And most of all, stop rescuing people who makes them feel needed. But Machiavelli would say, attach to those who elevate you, not just those who need you. Let go of the belief that being nice guarantees good things. Machiavelli would remind you the world is not a vending machine. You don't insert kindness and expect fairness. You must take what you deserve, or someone else will. Start moving in silence. Stop telling people your plans, your feelings, your next steps. Mystery builds power, and nice guys overshare. Stop fixing, start observing. Stop pleasing, start positioning. Stop waiting, start acting. Kindness is beautiful. But Machiavelli teaches, kindness without self-respect is manipulation of yourself. So be kind, yes, but only after being powerful. Nice guys think love is enough, but Machiavelli would say, without power, love is fragile and often false. People love what benefits them and respect what challenges them. So give them both. Be kind and firm, warm and powerful. Let go of the old version of yourself, the one that believed being liked was the goal. Machiavelli offers a new vision. Be respected, be remembered, be in control. Because power, not pity, writes your legacy. Machiavelli's most famous analogy was that a wise leader must be both lion and fox. The lion represents raw power, the fox represents cunning, and together they are unstoppable. This is the evolution of the nice guy, not a lion who roars, not a fox who hides, but a master of both. The nice guy has always been the sheep, gentle, harmless, and predictable. But the world belongs to predators who wear wool when it suits them. Machiavelli's voice cuts through history, whispering, become dangerous and learn when to show it. True strength doesn't mean being violent, it means being capable, calm, and controlled. The nice guy believes his harmlessness makes him safe, but Machiavelli would say, you are only safe when others know you are not afraid to act. A man who cannot say no, who cannot walk away, who cannot command silence, is not strong. He's agreeable, likable, even lovable, but he is not respected. And without respect, even love crumbles. Nice guys are often givers. They give time, affection, energy, and trust. But Machiavelli would teach, give with calculation, not emotion. Your energy is not infinite. Spend it like gold. Every drop of attention is a vote. Cast it where it builds you. The new nice guy, the evolved one, becomes a strategic gentleman. He is kind, yes, but his kindness has edges. He smiles with sincerity, but he never forgets the game he's playing. This man holds space for others, but not at the cost of losing himself. He no longer lets guilt steer his generosity. Machiavelli would nod in approval. Compassion is noble, but never let it cloud your judgment. He stops performing for approval. He no longer tries to earn worth through others' comfort. Because worth is not given, it is declared. Machiavelli believed a leader must always appear moral, even if, behind the curtain, he plays the necessary game. That's not hypocrisy, that's survival, so the nice guy must learn the art of duality, virtue in appearance, precision in action. A strategic gentleman praises in public, but corrects in private. He rewards loyalty, but does not tolerate disrespect. He speaks with softness, but moves with authority. He no longer fears solitude. He understands that peace often begins where company ends. Machiavelli would whisper, the man who needs no one commands the attention of all. This man no longer asks for permission to be himself. He doesn't dilute his truth to avoid offending others. Because authenticity, when fused with strategy, becomes magnetic. He walks into rooms with calm presence, not begging to be seen. Machiavelli would call it quiet dominance, the power of restraint. He protects his time like a king protects his crown. He knows that the greatest currency isn't love or money, it's attention. So he spends his only on what multiplies him. No longer does he fear being misunderstood. He accepts that not everyone will like him, and that's a sign of having standards. Machiavelli would say, let the sheep dislike the lion. Their opinion changes nothing. This man plays long games. He delays gratification. He smiles in silence while others reveal their cards, because power belongs to the patient. He builds alliances based on mutual benefit, not desperation. He doesn't chase affection, he creates value. Machiavelli would say, make others need you and never need them more. He learns to flirt with mystery. He stops oversharing his feelings, goals, and scars to seek sympathy, because mystery breeds interest and scarcity breeds desire. He's no longer everyone's hero, and that's his liberation. He no longer sacrifices himself to be liked by all. Machiavelli reminds him, he who tries to please all pleases none, especially not himself. He sees people for what they do, not what they promise. He doesn't paint red flags white. He doesn't beg for closure. He provides it for himself and walks on. And most importantly, he forgives himself for his past naivety. The nice guy once lived to be chosen, but now he chooses, not with arrogance, but with discernment. Machiavelli would tell him, you have no obligation to keep being the man who was stepped on. Reinvention is your right. And the past is just proof you're capable of more. He now leads his life like a kingdom, with walls, standards, and invitations, not open doors. He allows people in, but only those who've earned the key, because love without boundaries is chaos, and kindness without structure is self-destruction. This man no longer needs to explain his value. He becomes the standard, and in doing so, he forces others to rise or leave. He is not bitter. He is better, sharper, wiser, more focused. He carries softness, but it no longer spills uncontrollably. He loves deeply, fearlessly, but he doesn't abandon himself in the process. Machiavelli would salute such a man, kind when he chooses, powerful when he must be. He is no longer nice. He is necessary, and in this world of noise, followers, performers, and pleasers, he stands alone. Not because he must, but because he can. And from that solitude, power radiates. So to every nice guy who gave too much,